Hey guys, welcome back to Love and Confetti, the show where we talk about love and everything else. I'm Dani.
And I'm Arion. Today
Hello.
we're today's a little bit special because we're doing this on a date night,
Yeah.
and our theme for today is actually perfect for the topic we're going to be discussing. So as you can see, we're dressed as tourists.
Tacky.
Uh,
Tacky tourists.
yeah, so I'm just like, tourist with my camera, my hat, my glasses, and then Danny is a
I'm a tourist
Disney.
at Disneyland.
Yeah,
If you're listening to the audio component, there's a video version on Facebook and YouTube. And if you're listening to this or watching this, you can watch it at 2 times the speed. If you're pressed for time or if we talk too slow.
so back to what we are saying. So it's actually perfect that we're dressed as tourists because today's topic is about traveling.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about like how we travel personally and how we travel as a couple, and we're gonna talk about problems we experience or fun stories and stuff. And I feel like we should touch on like the Instagram versus reality of like couple traveling.
Yeah, so we're going to be discussing all the important parts about traveling and why we feel you should take your partner traveling as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Because
when this is
we're
all
gonna
over.
yeah, let's get started. Let's daydream a bit because I bet many of us haven't been able to travel since the lockdown started. So we're going to experience. We're also going to recount some of our own travel experiences together and share some stories. And hopefully you guys can also leave some of your stories in the comments. We would love to hear from you.
Okay, so first let's start off with like background. Like, what are our personal experiences of traveling growing up?
Personally, me, I've traveled a lot growing up because my dad was a musician. He had his own band, and he would travel to different places around the world, performing in different hotels around the world. And I was always like a part of the luggage. I was part of his, entourage, right? So wherever he went, I was there. So I lived, I would say, a couple of months, couple of years in many places around the world, although in nice places, nice hotels and stuff.
Yeah, so he was basically living the sweet life of Zach and Cody in
Kinda,
real
yeah.
life.
Yeah. I lived in places like India, Turkey, China, Hong Kong for about maybe 7 years total, Singapore for about 6 months, Indonesia for a while. I've lived in the Philippines for many years, of course. I lived in parts of Europe. I lived in Spain before moving to Spain again. I lived in Spain for about a year. I basically, traveled a lot and lived in many places.
Yeah. Favorite place?
I'd say one of my top, I mean, not to like compare everything, but one of my like top would be Hong Kong. I
Okay.
really love Hong Kong. It's so like just walking around, getting around is so fun, and it's so international. There's so many people
Yeah.
there. So you really get to experience a lot of mixed cultures.
Yeah, and it's kind of like small enough to enjoy and like
Yes.
get around
Exactly.
quick.
Exactly. I'm a bit sad with what's currently going on there. So it's not as safe to travel to. It's
Yeah.
not as popular a destination anymore, but it's still a really fun and amazing place to be. And I was born in Hong Kong actually. For those of you who don't know, I was born there, so it has a special place in my heart. Okay, your turn.
As for me, growing up, my family and I traveled a lot. I think my first international trip was when I was 10. So we did a Europe trip. We went on a cruise and then we did a Europe trip. In my family, we go on cruises a lot. I don't know how many we've been to. I can count maybe 4 growing up or 5. I'm not really sure. But they like the comfort of no, they like the convenience of being able to go to a lot of places in a short amount of time, and you don't have to worry about your transportation, your lodging, your food. Everything's kind of provided. And so, yeah, we've been to a lot of places actually. So, we've been around Europe, and then we actually also went on a cruise around Norway, which is kind of random, but it was fun, and it was all scenic, it was all naturey, which is very different from our usual travels because my mom usually likes, what do you call it? Touristy things.
Tourist hotspots.
Yeah, and then so we also did a cruise around Asia, and I lived in Spain for 8 months 2 years ago. God, it seems so long ago. And so yeah, and when I was in Spain, we traveled a lot. Me and my cousin, we had our trips. So we went to Morocco, Portugal. We had a Christmas Euro trip too, and I had my trips with Ariane. Yeah, so my last travel was last year. So we did a cruise around Europe again, and I traveled with Ariane to Amsterdam and Brussels, which we're gonna discuss about later.
Okay, so yeah, so Danny has also had her fair share of travels. I think not everyone has, the
Yeah, we're
luxury or
privileged in that
privileged.
way.
Yes. So we've been very lucky to have been able to travel, especially Danny and me. Me in particular, my dad was, it was like work, so I really lived in those places.
Mhm.
It was very different. It was a unique experience for me. But there are, of course, some drawbacks to living in many places, but we don't need to discuss that today.
As for me, I feel like I'm also really lucky that my family prioritizes travel because not a lot of families do. So I guess like we're very fortunate in that sense. Anyway, let's talk about our first travel experience together.
So our first travel experience, it wasn't off country. It wasn't an off country experience. So Danny was in Spain at the time, and we decided to make a little road trip to Sevilla, which is a city a few hours away from where I live, and it's very different there. It's one of the major cities in Spain, so it's
Yeah, it's
absolutely
it's
beautiful.
called Seville in English. In English, it's Seville, and then in Spanish, it's Sevilla.
Yeah. So for future notice, we're going to be referring it to as Sevilla today, okay? Anyway, so how was our experience in Sevilla? Well,
Oh, that was my birthday
yeah,
weekend. That
it
was
was
like my
Danny's
birth
birthday.
week.
Yeah. So we decided to do like a whole celebration in Sevilla, and it was actually really random. We just said, "Oh, let's just go to Sevilla." Like,
Yeah, I
okay,
forgot. Why did we choose to go to Sevilla? Was there
because
any
you've never
reason?
seen it.
Yeah,
You
but
never saw it, and I did, and I was like, "You have to see it." Anyway, so we booked a small Airbnb, and it was actually very convenient because we didn't pay for the whole apartment. We paid for a
a
room in an
room.
apartment,
Yeah.
but it just so happens that the person there was not staying there at the time.
Yeah, and we were
So
the
we
only ones.
literally had the whole place for ourselves. So it was really nice. So on the way there was a feria, which means like a festival. There was a festival of Sevilla happening that weekend, and we did not know that. We had no idea. We kind of just chose Sevilla. So immediately upon arrival, when we got to the Airbnb, I actually asked for an extension right away
All right,
because we
yeah.
were
We asked
like,
for an
yeah,
extra
because
day.
we asked for an extension because we found out that, oh, there's a festival happening,
Yeah.
right? Anyway, so what did we do in Sevilla? Well, I think the first thing I did to Danny, which I think she was very upset about, because this was literally on her
Oh, this
birthday,
was
and we had
yeah.
just arrived. It was a long trip. So you want to say it?
Yeah, we went to Sevilla literally on my birthday. So I think we left your house at around past
Yeah.
lunchtime, and we got to Sevilla at around maybe 5 p.m. So we only ate lunch, maybe like some snacks along the way, and there was like the whole commute, and then the whole settling in and stuff. And so we were walking around, and I was kind of like getting hungry. And then he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna take you to like the best place to get fresh fish and fresh seafood. It's like literally the best." So I was like, "Okay, I want fresh seafood on my birthday." And then I don't know how long we walked. It was a long walk. I got so hangry because I think we walked for, I don't know, an hour.
No.
We
40
walked for an
minutes.
hour.
We walked for 40 minutes.
I was getting so
But
hungry. It was
but
like
I
my
mean,
birthday. It
okay,
was 9
but it was a
p.m. We hadn't
scenic walk.
eaten.
It was a
Yeah, it was
scenic
a
walk.
scenic walk.
Yes. But it was a long walk. And I didn't factor in, we were tired from the trip as well because we were in a car for 2 hours and there was other things that we had to take into account. But in the end, we arrived at the place and Danny had the biggest smile. She had a bouquet of
Yeah,
fresh fried
okay,
fish.
this was fun because it was a restaurant that was like literally at the side of the street. Okay, it wasn't like some fancy sit down restaurant where you could sit inside. It was like so you order inside and then the tables are outside, like along the sidewalk. And the tables weren't like anything fancy. It was like literally just a table and plastic chairs or something. So anyway, he orders and he comes back with like this paper bouquet. It was basically like fish in like a paper cone. It was like an assortment of seafood. So there was like fish, there was calamaras. And then so it's fun because you get this bouquet and nothing else. You don't get utensils.
No,
So
no, you just eat with your hands.
yeah, so no, so you open the cone and that's kind of your plate and then you just
Yeah.
eat the seafood with your hands, with your bare hands. And I think we had wine and that was really fun. It was so good. It was very fresh. Yeah, so that
So
was
yeah,
a really
so
good
in
dinner.
the end, she wasn't mad at me. She wasn't mad at all. So I'm happy about that. Now, what did we do day 2? I think day 2 we explored
We were
the
sightseeing. Oh, we rented a boat, like a rowboat.
yeah, in the park.
Yeah, so we
In the
went to
park of
this
Sevilla.
it's called the Plaza de
I think it's called the
España.
Plaza España. Yeah.
Yeah. And And then, so we rented a rowboat and we were kind of like, well, he was rowing. I was kind of just cheering him on. I was like, yeah, babe, you have strong arms.
It was so hot, I remember. I was rowing, I was sweating. It was not a very nice nice experience for me, but and then Danny tried to row for like 1 minute and she's like, I can't. My arms are tired. Yeah, and then basically we were just taking photos. It's really beautiful, really scenic, and really fond memories there.
Yeah, it was really fun. Basically, if I could summarize our trip, we ate and walked and ate. That's literally all
And
we
ate and
did. We
walked.
kept eating food because the tapas there was so cheap and so good. And we went to, kind of fancy restaurants.
Yes.
And the food was
But we
like,
spent about 20 euros.
yeah,
Just between
okay,
the two
so
of
20
us.
euros, that's like 1,000 pesos. Each plate was probably like 180 pesos. The sangria was maybe 100 pesos.
No, we
'Cause
ate a lot.
We ate a lot.
We
That's
did
why.
not hold back.
Yeah, so we were
didn't hold back
yeah,
at
so
all.
we were walking and eating. We were eating while walking.
Yeah, I remember. So we had some really cool dishes there actually. What else did we do there?
Yeah, so we sight saw a lot. We went to the tourist places. We took a lot of photos. We ate a lot. We had a lot of fun. And we kept drinking sangria. That was fun. And, wait. Hey, and we also ordered, because he told me you could order like this really, really big pizza for like 500 pesos. It was huge. Like, I'm talking maybe 24 inches,
Yeah, something like that.
something like
Yeah.
that. So we ordered,
I love
we
how
ordered a
excited
box
you got.
just for us. Yeah, so we ordered.
It's funny because
we
that
bought,
box, we used it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
yeah. So we got pizza and then we went to the supermarket, we got vodka. We went home. The pizza was huge. Like the slice was literally like my head.
Yeah, the slice alone,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Yeah.
that was really good. We had our vodka and then we went to the fair. Oh, we also brought the vodka to the fair, but we put it in like a water bottle. Yeah, we were drinking during the fair and we were kind of dressed up. I had like a flower in my hair. I think he was wearing a hat.
I bought a sombrero, like a specific
Yeah.
sombrero for the event.
Yeah. And it was fun because
Yeah.
like half of the fair was like rides. So, amusement park, the extreme rides with those little stalls where you play games. And then the other half was like the party scene.
Yes.
Yeah, the food and
party
party
scene, but the
scene.
party scene was very traditional. So everyone was dressed in a sevillana.
Yeah, everyone was dressed in costume. Well, not
Exactly.
costume. Their Sevillana
Traditional
outfits.
costume.
Yeah. And everyone was literally like kind of in a gown. Okay? Imagine people in gowns walking on the streets. It was so fun.
beautiful.
And
It's
people
really
were
nice.
people were in horses, in carriages. Like it was
Yeah.
crazy.
And all of the tents, each tent had like a private party.
So imagine like a really big area. There's like 100 tents, and in each tent is a different party.
Yeah, but private.
Yeah.
That's the most interesting part. It was a private party. We could not crash any of those tents. There was
Yeah.
one public tent where many people joined, but in general, it was private parties.
So how do you get in? Like, do you get invitations? Or do you
Invitations,
pay?
yeah.
Okay.
People actually pay for these stalls and they invite, their family, their friends over to their stall, to their
Yeah.
tent, basically. So, yeah, very cool.
That was so fun. So I think that whole trip was maybe 3 days, 4 days in total.
Mhm.
Let's talk about where we've been together.
So, Sevilla was our first trip together, and then
Actually, I thought that our first trip together was gonna be Malaga. Remember?
that wasn't really a trip, though. That was like a day trip.
Oh, that's
And
true.
Malaga is not really. We're still in the province of Malaga somehow.
Okay, that's true.
But yeah, we can mention that. So basically, I had a.
That was funny. Yeah, but the only reason why we went on that trip, on that day trip, was because I got clingy.
Yeah, Danny was really upset the night before because
No, because
I told her
usually
I had a tournament.
every weekend I stay with him, and then that particular weekend he said he had something going on, and so I couldn't stay over and stuff. And I was kind of like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because I had to practice and stuff. And then I was like, but you can come over to Malaga with me. So she's like, okay. So she didn't even hesitate. And then basically we ended up going to Malaga and I think we spent like a good afternoon there.
Yeah,
Yeah, just exploring. And I remember we hiked the castle there. It was beautiful. We even had this really good sangria.
yeah. So
Yeah.
okay, so Malaga, then Sevilla, then
Cadiz.
Oh right, yeah. So we went to Cadiz for another festival called Carnival.
Carnival.
Right. Yeah. So basically, it was like Halloween in March for the Spanish because they don't celebrate Halloween. So it was just this. It was kind of like a dress-up costume festival, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah, a dress-up costume festival where everyone gets
Yeah.
drunk.
Yeah, so
But it's not
imagine,
like everyone's wearing scary stuff. It's more like, oh, superhero or
yeah,
captain, pirate, right?
yeah. So imagine kind of like Halloween meets Sinulog, but without
Yeah,
the
pretty
super
much.
wild raves,
It's a
without the
street
paint.
party.
Yeah.
And it was actually pretty funny because the party in Cadiz was taking place in front of the church.
All
So like
right.
you have
Yeah,
like
that was
this holy
funny.
place and everyone just getting drunk right in front of it. It was
Yeah.
hilarious.
And we went to Starfire and Robin. We made our costumes last minute on the day. And I think we started at around 10 a.m. sewing the costumes and stuff. And we didn't finish until maybe 4 p.m. We were at the venue already.
We
So
were doing it in the car.
we were doing it in the car on the way to the venue. And then when we got to Cadiz, we were sitting on a park and we were still sewing our costumes. And anyway, we managed to pull it off.
Yeah, it came out pretty good. You can show them the photo.
Yeah.
And then after that, we had our trip with no, wait. Did
With
we
my
go
family.
around with my family as well?
Uh,
Didn't we do some trips with my family?
to Malaga. Yeah.
Anyway, we explored like the area of the Costa del Sol together because
Yeah.
that's our area. That's where we lived. And then after that, when Danny's family flew in, we did some trips around Spain. So we did
So we did a road trip. We went to I think 4 cities in Spain. So it
Cordoba.
was Ronda, Cordoba, Granada, and Marbella.
Yeah. Okay, so those four. Exactly. So we did
Yeah.
all that together. And which one did you like the most of the four?
Of the four, I think maybe Granada.
Granada. What about Ronda?
Ronda was cute too.
I'd say Ronda over Granada.
Yeah,
I don't
it was
know.
it was
I
fun
liked it
because
more.
we didn't have a budget on food.
No, but what was really fun actually was because I remember like your mom, she was very intense. Like she wanted to do all
Oh yeah,
the
because
trips,
my mom is the type of traveler where she wants to hit all the spots, all the major
Yeah.
spots in one day
Yeah.
if she can.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, we did like tour buses and guided
Yeah.
tours, museums, everything.
Yeah,
Right.
so we basically rented a car and then my dad drove and you helped navigate
Yeah. I was
and
expert navigator.
yeah.
But no, but what I liked about Ronda was I think that was the most chill everyone was.
Oh, that's
It's
true.
like your mom wanted a picnic in front of
Yeah.
in
My
front
mom
of
wanted
the
to
bridge.
No, but I think my mom wanted to picnic like she wanted to get out of the car and like literally picnic. I think that's what she meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so well, I think you were the one who put the idea into her head. Like,
Yes.
Tita, we can do a picnic and stuff. And she was like, yes, yes, I want that. so
No,
so
no,
we,
we want.
yeah, my mom goes,
We
we
want
want that. And then I'm kind of like, do we? And yeah, so we bought snacks at like a market. She bought like a lot of like olives and figs and cheese, bread and wine for the picnic. So the picnic happened, but Ariane was actually the one serving everyone. Like he was getting all the sandwiches ready for everyone and handing
bread,
it to
yeah.
each person.
It was fun. Yeah. So we super enjoyed that trip. That was one of my favorite trips around Spain. And then it was really funny. The two families met in Gibraltar. So my
Yeah.
parents met your parents in Gibraltar. So that was kind of like a day trip for the both of us. Because
Yeah.
I think your cruise was
Had a
stopping in
stopover,
Gibraltar for a bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Anyway.
then, okay, so our favorite trip ever was one where we did Amsterdam and Brussels. So we did Amsterdam for Halloween and then Brussels after. And that was the coldest place we've ever tried going to together. I think it was gonna be maybe 5 degrees, like 0 to 5 degrees. That was like the temperature range.
Yeah,
didn't
not
really
just
have the
cold.
clothes for
It was
it.
also wet because like it was kind of like the rainy
Yeah.
time. Yeah, so it was also kind of wet and cold at the same time. Not a very
Yeah.
good combination.
And we went as Aladdin and Jasmine. Of all the costumes, we had to pick the most skin bearing outfits.
Yeah, so that wasn't really good, but really fun experience. What did we do in Amsterdam? Like again, we ate a lot, we explored a lot. We didn't have time for museums, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because we were only there for what, 2 days, 3 days?
Yeah.
So what we did instead was we binged on Dutch pancakes.
Oh my
We
God,
tried
those are
every
so
major
good.
thing.
They're
Yeah, we even
so
tried the
good.
herring. The
Yeah, so
herring,
what we would
that
do
was
is
actually
like
yummy.
yeah, what we would do is like we Google like let's say top 10 foods to try in Amsterdam. And then we'd try a little bit of each. And we had like the best, okay, not the super best, the second best. Because the first best is my apple pie. The second best
Okay.
apple pie you'll ever have in your life.
Best. Like it was
Actually-
so delicious.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't really say it's the best, but it's like you say it's the best because everyone said it's the best.
But it was pretty
It
good.
was good.
It was really
It
good.
was good, but
really
I don't know
good.
if it was the best in the world.
It was recommended to me by a friend, this specific cafe in this specific area in
Yeah.
Amsterdam. And the line was so long. Like
Yeah, it was.
we waited maybe 40 minutes just
Yeah,
to
and it
get
was
in.
raining, drizzling. It was drizzling
Yes.
while we were waiting outside. We only had one umbrella. And
Yeah.
every time we'd ask people, like, have you tried this cafe? They'd be like, no, but I hear the pie is good. Everyone in the line said the pie was good. And if you go inside the
Exactly.
cafe, it's like every table had a pie.
So yeah, it was coffee and pie. And I think we also ordered meatballs. Anyway,
Yeah.
we entered, we finally sat down, we got our pie,
It was
and
good
it was
pie.
oh, it was amazing. I remember like I have a video of you dancing after
Yeah.
trying the pie. It was that good.
Oh,
And
the cafe's called Winkle
yeah,
43.
Winkle. Winkle 43.
If you're ever in Amsterdam.
What else was a really fun thing we did? Every chance I got, I'd stop over those cheese places,
Oh
where they
yeah.
serve cheese, and I'd get all the samples. Like I
Yeah,
just sample
packs.
all the cheese. So
So
I
we
get,
didn't wanna
I actually get pretty full out of that.
Yeah, we didn't want to pay for cheese. And there were a lot of free taste tests.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so
I'd
I
always
just
be
got
so I'd
one.
always just be like, babe, look, samples. So we'd stay in a store for like 5 minutes. He'd binge on whatever he could get.
What else did we do? We walked around the red light district. That was interesting.
Yeah.
We also entered a coffee shop to see what it was all about. For those of you who don't know what a coffee shop in Amsterdam is, Google it. And
The place where they serve weed.
yeah, basically we had a lot of fun in Amsterdam. That was one of our best
Yeah.
experiences. It was really funny because when we on the night of Halloween, we were
Oh yeah, let's talk about Halloween.
yeah, so basically we were walking around the whole day trying to take nice photos of us in costume.
Yeah,
and
but
it
we
was really
didn't.
cold.
Yeah, but we didn't have the whole day because you had work. We had time constraint during that whole trip because we could only travel
Yes.
after your work, which was kind of like 3 p.m., 4 p.m. So that's when we'd start our day. And because the sun set at like around 5 p.m. So we only had like 2 hours of sunlight. So yeah, and well, like miraculously, we got through Halloween okay. I think we were like, well, you were wearing thermal under, and it was like one layer of cheap silk,
Yeah.
my costume. So it
Costume
wasn't,
material.
yeah, so it wasn't like warm at all. I tried to wear like this, like a skin tone inner thingy, but then it kind of like looked weird. It looked bad in photos, so I had to take it off and I had a coat. But my coat wasn't even like warm. It was like a denim jacket coat.
Yeah,
That was
that's
all
why.
I had.
So yeah, I remember you were suffering so much more
yeah,
than me
I was
actually.
like, I think I was like shivering at night na. Because
Yeah.
during the day it was okay.
No, but I think we warmed up in this place before we got into like the party. It was so strange because when we arrived in like the party zone, right? In Halloween, we were in
no
full
one.
costume.
No,
There was
wait.
nobody.
Okay, so I think we Googled before that, like top places to. Actually, wait. Let's take it back. How did we decide to go to Amsterdam?
I think you brought it up because I never been there.
No,
Yes.
I was like, babe, let's go somewhere for Halloween. And I was like, what's one place that you haven't been to? And you're like, Amsterdam. So I was like, okay. It was like super spontaneous. So we were like, okay,
Yeah.
cheap flights.
No, but actually the flight wasn't that cheap. It was expensive to go direct to Amsterdam. That's why we chose to go to Brussels.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So the flight to Brussels was like only what, 20
It
euros?
was so cheap. 20
It
euros
was
is
so
1,000
cheap.
pesos.
Yeah,
Spain
and then
to Brussels.
the bus from Brussels to Amsterdam was another 20 euros or no,
Yeah.
15 euros.
Something
And
like
then
that.
the flight from Amsterdam back to Spain was another 20 euros.
Yeah.
So overall our expense,
It was
like
so
each
cheap.
ticket was less than 100.
I think the total cost of flights and transpo during our trip, like individually, would be cheaper than like a one-way. Well, okay, like cheaper than a round-trip ticket from like Cebu to Manila.
Wow.
Something like
okay.
that. Anyway,
Wow.
so picture this: Aladdin and Jasmine. It's 5 degrees out, and we are in skin-bearing costumes. Not the most practical thing. And like Amsterdam is supposed to be like a hot spot for Halloween, and we're like so excited. And we're like, oh my god, babe! It's gonna be so cool. Everyone's gonna be in costume. And so we venture out into the city, and no one is in costume. Like literally,
Nobody.
no one is in costume.
We found like
so
a
to
handful
get-
of people.
our Airbnb was kind of far from the city, so to get there, we'd have to ride a bus. When we stepped on the bus, everyone was like staring at us, kind of like, what the hell? Like, why are they? Like, I had my long hair. I had my long jasmine hair. You weren't like super inconspicuous.
Yeah.
I
But
think.
even then, like it was just very we were off.
Yeah.
We
And
we
we
weren't like part of the. Basically, nobody was in costume. We didn't get the memo.
We weren't even in costumes where you could like kind of pass it off as outfits, like a pirate or something, or a sailor. We were literally Disney characters who everyone knew. I mean, everyone knows Aladdin and
Exactly.
Jasmine. So they were kind of like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
We got to the city and we were looking for people. We couldn't find people, but people found us. And people were so cute actually. So they would be waving at us or they'd be smiling. Kind of like, hey, it's Aladdin and Jasmine. Everyone was so friendly. Everyone is smiling at us. Everyone is kind of like, amused. Anyway, so we arrive into the. Oh wait! Can I mention like before? So before we went to the party district, oh my god, we had like the best. We had the best Dutch mini pancakes of your life, like the best. Like I ate it and I danced. It was so good. We had like mini pancakes and hot chocolate. And we just like passed by it randomly. Actually, I think I was like really cold, and I was like, "Can we go inside?"
Yeah. No, it's absolutely delicious.
was
Like it's
so
so
good.
puffy.
Yeah, because it's
And
not
it
like
just melts
it's not
in your
just
mouth.
it's not just pancakes. It's kind of like a chewy, buttery pancake with powdered sugar.
Yeah. Very yummy.
Okay, so much for the food rant. And then we went to the party district.
Yeah, and then we arrived there, nobody was there, and we actually saw a handful of people in costume from, I think, Ireland or something.
Yeah, for the first time.
And they were just looking at us, kind of confused as well. And they were like, where are the people at?
Yeah, so
So,
we talked to like anyone in costume we could find, and we'd be like, "Do you know where the party is?" They'd be like, "No,
Yeah.
do you?"
yeah. And basically, we were just waiting for a while. And I think it was like around 10 p.m. It's already kind of late, This party should start at that time. But
Yeah.
apparently, according to people, the party doesn't start until like 11 p.m., 12.
Yeah,
So we waited. We waited in this little bar on the side, and
Yeah.
we had, I think, to warm you up,
yeah. We had like spiked.
Irish coffee.
Yeah,
Irish
yeah. I
coffee.
think
So it was a little spiked with some rum. Anyway, and then eventually,
we went to the bars, and then we were kind of drinking. We didn't get super drunk because the
not
drinks
at
were
all.
kind of
I think-
expensive.
yeah,
and people actually liked us because we were
Yeah,
kind
they were
of
very
we
nice.
kind of stood out in a way where like everyone was in like in generic costumes. Like there was a cat and there was I don't know, a
fairies.
fairy or something, and
Yeah,
we were like Disney.
yeah.
Oh, and then we got
And then
awarded. We got awarded like best costume or something.
Yeah, so
in
we
one
went to this
club.
bar, and when we arrived, everyone was like hyping us, and we are like, "Oh my god, Jasmine Aladdin!" And
Yeah,
they wanted
people
to take
took
photos
photos
with
with
us.
us. That's so cute.
Yeah, that was cute, and especially you. They really loved your costume because mine was kind of like, I don't really look like Aladdin. I'm not tan enough to be Aladdin, but Danny really looked like Jasmine that day. She looked beautiful, gorgeous, and people were like, crowding her, like, "Take a photo with me, take a photo with me." So she was kind of like the center of attention in that bar. And yeah, we were actually awarded best costume.
But we weren't
Best
there for
couple
the award.
costume.
Yeah, we weren't
But
there
that's
for
the thing, we
award.
weren't there for the award. We actually left that bar because the music wasn't that good.
Yeah.
So we bar hopped, and then we came back, and they were like, "Where did you guys go? We were passing around the award for best
I
costume."
think the
We're like,
award was
"We
actually
didn't even
drinks or
know."
something.
Yeah, we didn't even know there was a best award.
It's so sad.
We didn't know that. And anyway, at least, we were the honorable best
Yeah.
award. We were like the honorable mention. And then, yeah, that was pretty much our experience in Amsterdam.
So Brussels was also pretty much Amsterdam, but instead of pancakes, we ate a lot of Belgian waffles, which were hella good.
And we also did a lot of beer testing. Yeah, because
Right.
Belgium is one of
Yeah,
the beer
yeah, yeah.
capitals of the world.
Yeah,
So
and
we
their
went to this
beers-
bar that had like 100 different types of beers.
Yeah, and their beers, like the alcohol percentage, is like 13%. Here it's like
Yeah, super high.
5.
Yeah, that's why. So it's like it was very nice experience. Just
Yeah.
traveling is a beautiful experience. You always learn something new.
Yeah.
And something that not many people do when they go to Belgium is actually explore the comic culture. So Belgium is actually one of the biggest, I'd say, countries in the world that are very much dedicated into making comics.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys know the comics like the Smurfs, Tintin, Asterix and Obelix. That is all made in Belgium.
Yeah, and they had like street art.
Yeah,
murals.
but street art
They
with
had
like
murals.
Smurfs. Yeah, murals
everywhere.
of the Smurfs,
Like
murals
huge
of Tintin.
murals.
And it's actually a big thing there. Even Dani wasn't aware of that because she's been to Belgium before, but she wasn't aware of like the comic culture. And I actually like really looked into that. We even went to a comic museum,
Yeah.
and like there's like a comic book shop in every corner in Belgium. it's
Yeah.
actually wonderful. So it's a very different side of Belgium you wouldn't see. So
Yeah.
I would recommend that to any comic buffs. You'd
Yeah.
like Belgium a lot.
It was fun because it was your first time, but it was my
Yes.
second because I went there in 2015 for a solo trip. So it was kind of
You're
like,
kind of my tour guide.
yeah, so it was kind of like, trying to remember like where is this place and what's good to do here and stuff. Yeah, that was pretty fun. Okay,
I
let's move
love
on
Belgium.
because gosh, I think that we're 30 minutes in.
Oh, okay. Can we talk about why it's important to travel with your partner? I think
Okay,
that's a
sige,
very
fine.
good point. In my opinion, you guys can say if I'm wrong or you can disagree with me, but in my opinion, traveling brings out everyone's true colors. Now, why is that? There's a lot of factors. First of all, there's the pressure in travel, the pressure in packing, the pressure in preparing, the pressure in planning. And this pressure, when you are putting somebody under pressure, it kind of shows who they really are. So let's say, for example, a new couple who kind of still getting to know each other. If you guys travel and go on a trip early on and you see that one of you is cracking under pressure, you know it's going to be a difficult relationship in the future.
Yeah, but that's also
Um,
like because you're literally purposely being put under pressure. So it's kind of
exactly.
like it's bound to create conflict.
Exactly, exactly. And that's why it's a perfect testing ground for new couples. So, Danny and I, we actually started traveling, what, 4 months, 5 months into the relationship?
Mhm.
And we did not really crack under pressure. In fact,
It was very smooth.
we are so compatible when it comes to that, when
Yeah,
it
it was
comes
so
to
smooth.
traveling, because our plans are so flexible. So yeah, so basically I feel like it's very important to travel because it really tests many things. For example, if one person is like very strict, oh, we have to visit all the museums, and another person does not want to visit all the museums, that already causes conflict. And these are things you need to know, especially as a new couple. Do you really want this, right? This kind of
Yeah.
conflict, because this conflict can translate into other things in, in a normal setting. Traveling is also really good because it broadens your horizon as a couple. You're always together in the same spot all the time, so you don't really see much of anything else.
Yeah.
Travel is exciting. Travel really opens up new memories for each other,
Yeah.
so I think that's another really important thing. If you go to the movie house every weekend, you go to like in Cebu, you go to Ayala or SM every weekend, it's the same thing. You're seeing the same thing over and over again. But if you
Yeah.
guys actually set aside, maybe cut off those dates, and save up some money to have like a nice little trip
Even
somewhere.
locally.
Even a local trip, yeah. Even a local trip to like I know in Cebu there's a Moal Boal.
Yeah.
Even a local trip to one of those places is wonderful because it's an experience. It's a learning experience together,
Yeah.
and it's something that will really stay in your mind
Yeah.
more than just a lunch or a dinner in a fancy place every weekend,
Yeah.
right? So if like in my case, I would rather save up and budget for travel and trips rather than expensive
Same.
dinners left and right,
Same.
because those are really what stay more than anything else.
Yeah, the memories.
Yeah, traveling is super important when you want to get to know someone better than ever. It really opens up new it opens up a new person in front of
Yeah.
you. You're going to see a different side of your partner. Fortunately for us, I think we get along pretty well, right? When
Yeah.
it comes to traveling.
Okay, let's talk about like our dynamic as a couple during our traveling. So, like you as a person, like how do you travel? What kind of traveler are you?
I'm very I remember Danny like actually getting shocked when I said this, but for the first time she asked me something like, what's your ideal way of traveling? And I'm like, I like to get lost.
Oh my
She's
god.
like, what?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was like,
And then she was
boy
like,
no.
what? But like, I don't mean like lost, like legit lost. I kind of mean more in the sense like, I kind of just want to wander the streets and
Yeah,
just
without a
explore
plan.
without a plan. Exactly. I want to explore. I want to like I don't want to go on my map and just say, "Okay, we're going here, we're going here, we're going here." Sometimes I kind of want to just see where the street takes me, and then I find like this hidden gem somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the way I like to travel. And Danny was kind of like, a bit shocked.
Yeah.
And then we actually applied that to our travels, and she was like, "Huh, this is pretty
No,
neat."
I think it's because we had to learn how to compromise. So it was kind of like a little of me,
Yes.
a little of you. So for me,
Yeah.
I'm the kind of traveler where I like things planned. I like things organized. So I like to know where we're gonna be and what time, so that I can plan my outfits accordingly. And I like taking photos. But basically, like I like knowing where we're gonna be and what we're gonna do, and I wanna like map out the places to go.
Yeah.
I like knowing what I'm getting into.
Exactly.
And
No,
he's kind
and I
of like the
completely agree.
opposite.
I mean, not an extreme opposite, but yeah, I also like to touch up on those places, but I don't like to have like a strict itinerary. Like at 1 p.m. we go here, at 2 p.m. we go there. I kind of want to just take my time in each place, and if I don't really like that place, okay, let's leave early.
Yeah, but
You know what I mean?
I'm the person who would map out, let's say, 5 days in Hong Kong. Day 1, we're gonna do this. Day 2, we're gonna do this. And then it's like kind of a timetable, 8 a.m. we have breakfast. 9 a.m. we go to this
I'm
place.
not like that at
and
all.
then
I'm not like
under
that at all.
and in that tracker, I also have my clothes. Because I take photos for the gram. Or not for the gram. I like taking travel photos.
But babe, I will say, when you travel with me, you're very relaxed.
Yeah,
you
I know.
do not do that. No, but like I don't even like ask you to be that way. That's the funny thing. I don't even ask her to be like that. So like I'll give you a perfect example. In Sevilla, I think I was working, okay, and she had so many ideas like, "Oh, babe, we got to do this, we got to do that." And then after my work, she just got sleepy and she's like, "Babe, I'm going to take a nap." I'm like, "Okay." So I think we spent like there was one day in Sevilla where we kind of just rested and then we
Not
left at 7 p.m. Yeah.
Oh.
We didn't leave until like 7 p.m. We started our day outside at 7 p.m. And the thing is, nobody complained about it. We didn't complain that it was a loss of time. We didn't complain that, we could have done more. We kind of just enjoyed it. We enjoyed that moment and you enjoyed your nap. So, you see, so I feel like you kind of got more flexible when we started traveling together.
I guess. I think that's one thing I
Yeah.
learned from you.
Yeah,
In
because-
traveling. Because with my
'cause-
family, my mom's like super. If you think I'm hectic, she's more hectic.
Yeah,
She.
strict itinerary. I know what you
Everything
mean.
is planned.
Yeah.
So I got that from her.
Mm-hmm.
So. And that's how I traveled with Athena, my cousin. We would plan the trip together. So we were kind of like brainstorming everything. And with you, it was
Yes.
kind of like I was the one like giving the ideas, and you were like, babe, you know what? Let's just go with the flow, okay? We're gonna hit
Yeah.
those places, but we don't have to plan everything. I was like, no, we have to plan everything because I want to make the most out of the trip. You're like, no,
Yeah.
we're gonna relax.
Yes. And true enough, I feel like we kind of reached a middle ground where it was kind of perfect, I
Yeah.
would say. Because we hit all the places we wanted to hit, but we hit it according to our pace.
Yeah.
We kind of just enjoyed and absorbed every moment
Yeah.
together. So, for example, I'd say, babe, what do you feel like doing? And you kind of like, I kind of want Belgian waffles now. Like, okay. So you see, so instead of like just saying, oh no, but we can't do that. We can't do the Belgian waffles. We have to go to this place now. We kind of just like, okay, let's just look for Belgian waffles.
Yeah.
You see, so we take it according to how we feel, what we feel like doing.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky in that sense that we're both
Flexible?
We both like to explore and we're both flexible. Exactly. And I think that's really good because I think you learn to be more flexible with me and I also learn to be more organized with you.
Yeah.
So we have that dynamic. And
Yeah.
what I like is that we never had a fight actually during our
No, I
travels.
wanted
We've
to touch
never
on that
had a
actually.
conflict.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to touch on that. Like, what do you do, or have we ever experienced? Well, you already answered it, but like, what do you do if you have like conflict during a travel? Because you can't enjoy it anymore.
Well, I feel like you have to learn how to compromise. That's basically it. Why are you having the conflict? It's because there's a disagreement in something.
Yeah.
So try to find that middle ground, like what Danny and I found. We found that middle ground. We adjust for each other,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay, what about problems? Have we encountered
Problems.
any problems during our travels?
I mean, the most, honestly, was that time I made you walk so much in Sevilla to the
Yeah.
fish place. But other than that, I really don't think we've
Yeah.
encountered major problems
Yeah, we
in
have.
our travels. Not
Man,
at all.
our-
We're very blessed that way.
Man, we're so boring.
We're so boring. No, but we're very lucky because, like I said, we're very compatible when it comes to traveling because we didn't just compromise. We have the same sense of like wonder, like we like to explore. We like to take photos. Like, for example, I know for a fact that many relationships, girls like to have their photos taken, right? And their boyfriends don't really make the extra effort or the guys don't really enjoy it, right? I, for a fact, enjoy taking photos with Danny because I like taking photos, it's kind of a side thing for me.
Yeah.
But I particularly like taking photos for Danny because I'm very supportive of her for Instagram or for everything. And
Yeah,
plus,
he literally
it's my,
he gets
my
on the
beautiful
floor
girlfriend.
to get the shot.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, it's actually really funny because it comes to a point where Danny tells me to stop.
Yeah, no, because sometimes it's like, babe, I don't want more photos of me. I have enough photos of me. I want couple photos. photos because that's the whole trip. You know, it's a couple
No,
trip. I
but
know
not
it's
just
not.
that. Not just that. Because like I'm overstaying. Like I'm already taking like 100 photos in one angle. You're like, babe, no more, no more, no more. I'm like, wait, babe, I got the shot. I got the shot. And you'd be like, come on, babe, enough now. I'm like, no, 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 babe, trust me, trust me. And you'd be like, fine, fine, fine. You know, so like she'd be telling me to stop already. And
Yeah.
you know, that's not very common, right? But yeah, we've actually taken some really nice photos.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's, you know, those are some problems you can find. Other problems could be like maybe your partner doesn't want to walk too much or sightsee so much.
I think like one of the major problems people face is like, for example, like when two people have different priorities when it comes to travel. So one person really likes food and let's say one person likes museums. And how do how do you mesh, right?
That's a problem. That is a problem. So it's again, find your compromise because
Yeah.
you can be two ends of the spectrum, very extreme. Like I like to explore everything and touch up on every little thing, and I kind of want to just sit in a cafe and do nothing. Those are two extremes.
Yeah.
You gotta have to find the middle ground for that,
Yeah, because you're both paying for the trip. You should both enjoy.
and especially enjoy together. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to be like absent at the same time. You don't want to be pressuring your partner to do
Yeah.
the things you want to do, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about budgeting.
I feel like we just try to go as cheap as possible.
Yeah, that's true. We're
Yeah.
very no frills. So like I'm
Yeah.
always telling him like I don't want to eat in like fancy restaurants, you know. I'm okay with the street food. I'm okay with
Same.
yeah, but you're kind of like, babe, I want a nice meal.
That's true. Okay, the
Which I'm
difference
okay
between
with.
Danny and me is that like she'd go to all these European countries and she'd only have kebab. I'm like,
Oh, not
you do
only
realize
kebab.
yeah, okay, but you do realize Europe has so many flavors. And
Yeah,
you're always
but
going to just the Arab cheap kebab places.
in my
I'm like, come on.
defense, it's expensive to eat out when you're like a family of 7 and you're
That's true.
dining out all the time. So we'd always go to like really cheap places and we're really no frills, you know. We don't need to stay in 5-star hotels because we'd rather spend on the experiences, on the touristy things, on, you know, the sightseeing rather than the food or the lodging, which, you know, other people have other preferences, which is totally fine. That's just, you know, that's just how we do it. And also because we travel and we go on a cruise and it's kind of like dinner's already paid for, so we might as well like eat whatever cheap thing we can find. Sometimes we even, sometimes we even pack things from the cruise and then we just bring it around with us, so we don't actually eat
gosh.
anything there unless, you know, like we try some stuff,
But
but
see,
like
again, like you don't try the flavors of each country, and that's where me and Danny kind of disagreed. I was always like, we have to try each and every place's
yeah.
delicacy, their food.
Yeah, but for me, it's not that I didn't want to try. It's just that I was like, babe, we're on budget, Had. Do not forget that we're on budget.
The thing is, you can still be on budget and try the places properly. A fun example: we were in Belgium, and apparently everyone was saying you have to try the mussels in Belgium. And we were looking for places, and they were all above our budget because they were big.
They were always like around $30, so that's almost 2,000 pesos for two people, which is kind of
Exactly.
like, you know, if you think of it, it's a buffet.
Yeah, expensive side, right? So what we did was, it was so funny. We saw
There were two Asian
Yeah.
girls who were
two
also
Asian
looking
girls
for
from,
mussels.
I think Singapore,
Singapore,
right? And they were
yeah.
looking for mussels, and I was kind of just walked up to them. I'm
No,
like,
no, we
hey.
followed them around. I was like,
yeah,
"Babe,
we
let's
followed
walk
them
behind
looking.
them." Yeah, for
We
like
followed
1
them because they're
minute.
like they know where they're going, right? And then they found a place, and we found the place, and then I was kind of like, and I just walked up to them.
Yeah, no, first we made small talk. It's so funny. They're like, "Are you looking
They're
for
like-
mussels?" Yeah. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it's kind of expensive, huh?" And they're like, "It is."
Yeah.
I feel
So
like
anyways,
you're both like thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so eventually I brought up the idea, hey, do you want to like order one pot of mussels and we just
Yeah.
split it between the two of us? We're like, sure.
Yeah,
So it
that's-
was so funny. We just made random friends.
Yeah.
Okay. And we managed to save on the mussels.
Yeah.
See, so basically you can eat cheap, find ways to eat cheap in Europe and anywhere you go, actually. Just to paint a picture, you don't want to go to Japan and just have kebab there. Okay. You want to have your sushi, right? So for me, as much as possible, when you budget, try to budget on the accommodation and try to like splurge a little bit more on the food because I feel like
Yeah.
the food, the experience of the food is more important. The food
Yeah.
and the sightseeing.
Yeah. So it's all like according to your preference. Like, where do you get the most joy? For us, it's food. So we're going to spend on the food and the experiences, of course. For some people, maybe they want to stay in 5-star hotels and like, who can blame you?
Yes, but then I feel like when you spend all your money on the 5-star hotels, you won't like really
Yeah.
leave your hotel.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Remember, guys, you're only staying in hotels and Airbnbs for the night.
That's true.
The rest of the day you're out, and you kind of want to save money also for like your shopping if you guys are into shopping.
Yeah. So like for us, we're super no frills. We try to be like as cheap as possible. So our flights were cheap, our accommodations were cheap, and we splurged a little on food and on the experiences and stuff. We don't really shop. No, I did, but it was like everything was like super sale.
Yeah.
Everything was like 80 off.
And I only shop for like pasalubongs and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, I feel like when you
Okay.
travel, just budget your priorities properly.
Yeah. But how do we budget for travel? So we actually have like this date fund that we
Yeah.
contributed 50 euros each month, like during our LDR. So that was like 3 months of LDR, so that's 150 euros each. But I think in total we had kind of like a 20,000 peso budget for the entire trip. So that was including the flights, the transpo, the ACOMs. We went a bit over budget, which is kind of understandable because it was like a week in Amsterdam and in Brussels, and that was everything, including food, including lodging. So that was pretty okay.
Yeah, it was pretty okay. For the two of us, I mean, that was
Yeah.
pretty good. And we kind of like ate good. We ate
Yeah.
very good,
It was
right?
very good
Our
memories.
accommodations were decent. They weren't like 5-star
Yeah,
accommodations,
but
but
it's not
they
like
were
we
comfortable.
stayed. Yeah, it's not like we stayed there
And
long.
actually, they had a nice view.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question, and I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to think.
Okay.
So favorite travel memory? Go.
Amsterdam.
What part?
Like city or okay,
No,
what part?
memory.
Coffee shop.
Okay. Do we say what happened in the coffee shop? It's a place where they serve weed. You do the math.
Yeah. It was quite a trip. Anyway, your favorite.
Oh, same. Amsterdam, but not the coffee shop. I think like just in general, exploring Amsterdam, eating.
Exploring.
Or pwede Sevilla. Sevilla was also very nice, huh?
I like if Sevilla, Feria.
But Carnival was also fun.
No, but
Ooh.
Feria for me was like more. It felt more traditional. It felt more
Oh.
Spanish.
Okay.
So I don't know. Like I love especially the daytime in the Feria, not the night where we did
Yeah.
the rides. It was the daytime where we went there. We
Yeah.
kind of listened to music and people were dancing. We ate fish. That was
Yeah.
really nice.
Let's like segue into Instagram versus reality of travel.
Okay.
Because you know how there are like couple
So-
goals, relationship goals, travel
Oh
goals.
yeah. Well, what
and
that
y-
doesn't
you're-
show you.
Yeah,
is
but you're
the
bombarded with
ugly.
like. Yeah, that's why. Because you're bombarded with all the picture perfect travel photos. And it's kind of like, you kind of get this pressure, like, I want to get photos like that. So speaking as the boyfriend of like a quote unquote Instagram girl, like how was your experience?
Well, like I said, I enjoy taking photos of you and with you.
But how was you know how we take a lot of like couple goals photos, which by the way, we asked strangers to
guess.
take our photos, or I brought around a tripod, which is really heavy. We brought it around during one trip and I was like, never
That's
again.
the ugly
We're never
side.
gonna bring it again. It was so
That's
heavy.
the ugly side.
Yeah,
We had a
because
tripod. We had people crossing, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, when are we gonna get the perfect photo?"
But tip, we take our photos in burst mode. So we set up the shot. So we look for a person, and then I just tell them to like hold the shutter button for like 5 seconds, and then we're either standing or we move around and we get the shot. So that's kind of a hack. I don't
I
think.
feel like guys don't be pressured when you see Instagram,
Yeah.
couples traveling. It's all frills. It's all like there's filters. There's a lot of things
Yeah.
happening in that photo. It's not 100% the whole story there.
Yeah, and we always
Now-
try to get a spot where there aren't a lot of people around. And if there are people around, sometimes I kind of Photoshop them out.
Yeah.
So
Danny's very talented at that.
yeah, so what you see in
She just
photos
Thanos
isn't
snaps people.
yeah. So what you see in photos it's not like an accurate representation of the day, but it doesn't also mean that our travel wasn't good.
Exactly. So that's another
Kind of
thing.
like
So
a highlight.
yeah, it's just a highlight of her travel, and that's what Instagram photos are. They're just highlights of everything. In travel, it doesn't show you like the packing, the bed hair, the
Yeah.
the waking up, and like you're probably cranky.
Yeah, but
there
no,
are things
the
that
waking up,
you don't
babe,
see, guys.
The waking up at 5 a.m. to take photos at 7 a.m. because there's no one there.
Yeah, that's
'Cause I've
that's
done
what
that.
you did for Paris.
Yeah, I've done that. But it was a good shot. You have to admit it was a very good shot.
It was a good shot. One of those travel-worthy shots.
Yeah. I think I want to do a podcast on this, like the whole Instagram versus reality of couple goals or
Yes.
something. I think
Yeah,
that
we
would be
should
like
do
a
that.
really fun
We should
thing to do.
expand. No, we should actually expand on not just Instagram versus reality, but like the whole perception of couple goals by the media
Yeah,
in general,
general.
like movies,
Yeah.
TV, everything versus reality.
Yeah,
like the
let's do
real.
one. Let's do one for movies and then one like in general, like photos
Mm-hmm.
wise.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
That'll be another episode, guys.
Teaser for future episodes.
We just got that idea now.
Okay, and now it's time for the loaded question of the week. I'm doing this very spontaneously, literally off the top of my head. I came up with the question. Okay, so loaded question
Okay,
of
go.
the week.
Shoot.
Drum roll.
Oh.
If you could travel to one place, like what is your ultimate dream travel destination?
Ever. Like,
Ever.
out of... I haven't been to already,
That
right?
you haven't been to. Yeah.
I would say my number one is Japan. I've never been to Japan, and I really, really want to go. Because one, I'm not really an anime boy, but I'm a video game boy. I'm a Nintendo boy. So I love video games, and a lot of the video games I love originate from Japan. Two, I really love Japanese culture. I find it fascinating. I find the lore, the folk tales, everything about it fascinating. The architecture, amazing. And I really, really love Japanese food. So
Oh my
there's a
God,
lot of
it's my
things. There's a lot
favorite.
of things. I even find the Japanese girls cute, but I won't really like touch up on that because I don't want my girlfriend to get jealous. But
Why?
in general, I really like Japan. Japan is amazing, and I really want to go there. I really, really, really want to go there.
Okay.
Okay. Your turn.
Mine would be for the food, Japan and Korea. And I'm not super into Korean food. I just know that they have really good street food.
That's true. No, Korea's in my list.
And
But like,
Japan.
remember, number one place.
Okay, I think my number one would be India because I've never been to India. I've always wanted to go and I want to see the architecture. I'm not too big on the food. It's okay. Like, I like Indian food. I don't love it. Like, it's my number one. So, India for like the culture, the colors, the sights and stuff, the palaces.
The smells.
And
Like, if I have to define India, because I lived there 2 years, if I had to define it, it's like literally the land of smells. Because you have like food, incense, elephant poop in the ground. So you have like all sorts of smells just happening. But it's an experience.
I think that wraps it up for this episode. I think we touched up on a lot of things.
And yeah, guys, if you have any questions, please ask us. Ask away. We love to hear from you.
Yeah.
We love
Or
to hear your
ideas for
comments.
future episodes.
Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Don't forget to follow us on whatever platform you're listening to, and we'll see you in the next podcast. This has been Dani.
And Arion, and this is
This
Love
is
and
Living
Confetti.
Confetti. Jinx.
Okay. Jinx. Bye.
Bye, guys.